This episode contains mature subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised. Welcome back to the Death Needs Dialogue Entertainment Network. This is the Depths of Fel'Dara, episode 17, Heralding Call, Part A.
So, welcome back, everybody. You guys just got back from a trip into town where you have taken care of several things. Erlon, you've got your hurdy-gurdy back. Finally. Yep.
Fixed, but not fixed. Rock bro.
We have, Ratham, you've been working on your spells and everything of that sort, making deals and, other ins and outs with business people around town.
Yep. Making connections.
You guys have recently been in jail also, Nani and Galus. And Delkirk has been skulking around, sneaking and weaseling himself into this particular manse, the Manse of Gretch.
The old Gretch mine. Yes.
So there's a few things we still have to take care of. Outside of game right now, you have the 8-pound bag of salt you got to deal with.
Oh, yeah.
You guys have whatever you plan to do with the store, the restaurant, whatever that plan is. If you guys want to go back out a few times for the excursions, mountain excursions, I think it was, something like that.
Yeah, mountain excursion hunting.
We're going to work out some more gold and scroll work for you, and work that out as well. And Delkek, kind of work your way in thicker and thicker with these, I don't know what this group is called yet.
They're pretty a motley crew, to be sure.
It's spread around.
And Erlon was working on mine on his downtime too, to hopefully either raise his strength or constitution score. But
Let's be.
Can you lift an 8-pound bag of salt in real life? No. In the game? No.
No. It's a reflection of your true self.
So, Nani, you guys are sitting around having a meal. What did you cook for them?
Oh, shit.
Put someone else in the spot.
Pork.
Ooh,
Loin.
Ooh.
Glazed. With. Sure. I was like, I don't know what
Sounds really
type
good.
of food there is.
Oh yeah, honey pork would be
Some of those fancy turnips that do we still have fancy turnips?
Delkirk just went out to get some supplies and he happened to stop by Adamental Farms and got some of those wonderful, wonderful turnips.
You're welcome. He may prove to be useful after all. And other various root vegetable things.
So I'll get you to roll performance. Did you not have your dice out?
I wasn't paying attention. I was doing stuff.
You know, I'm not surprised. We usually roll play for the first.
Have you met me?
3.5 hours.
That is true,
I've
actually.
never prepared for anything ever.
Yeah, preparation? What's that?
Ding! 19.
Ooh, nice.
Plus numbers.
Oh my god.
That was close.
That was really close.
Why?
Did we say it had to be a natural 20
It
or
had to
over
be a
20?
natural 20.
20, okay. That was close.
To see if Erlon had to roll a wisdom save to not eat the food.
Whoa.
The meat.
It is-
The meat in particular.
You're looking at it and it's just delicious, Erlon. I mean, but...
Just ate it already.
And,
Bayless does a little airplane motion.
you can see his face kind of move around.
Here comes the dragon.
Shakes it off.
Bayless, nothing's gonna get done this episode.
Oh, man.
It's good enough that Erlon takes like the.
He licks it.
He takes the like vegetables that were cooked in the same pot, but he doesn't eat the actual meat.
Ah,
Has the
Oh, I
essence.
see.
Not
So
vegan.
He's cheating.
That's
He's
okay.
cheating.
Scan the system.
If he wants
I like
to
it.
raise
You
his
can just
strength
see
and
him.
constitution, he needs
Gotta eat
to
some
eat
protein.
the meat.
You see him just do the like before he eats. Just
Chews it and spits it out.
flavor.
So you guys enjoy this wonderful, wonderful meal. I mean, right on cue with Nani's roll 19. I shouldn't even have had to ask.
It's a formality at this point.
Pretty
much.
Exactly.
No, I rolled a
The,
couple of sketchy
Mediocre.
The craft dinner and
below
tuna,
11.
remember that? Yes.
Craft dinner and tuna. Jeez, that's a classic right there.
That's how it started, was him talking about craft dinner and tuna.
The trick is
And you rolled a bad roll, and I'm like, well, fuck, we're eating craft dinner and tuna. It was like one of the very first ones I played.
so bad.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
As the evening presses on, you guys eat, you are fed, you drink, and near the end, Dermot stands up and he says, walking around the table, kind of pats you on the shoulder, Nani. And he says, well, that was wonderful. I think I'll go up and have a rest. As you can hear him walk up the stairs. By now, the windows have all been fixed, all been replaced. People have come and fixed them. And he leaves the room. Well, good, that stiff is out of here.
Erlen just nods, holding his bowl of like leftover vegetables because he has to eat so much more to make up for the lack of meat.
I've wandered to the kitchen for another roll.
I would imagine everything's out on the table.
Yeah.
Well, with that,
You're eating it. I made this food to be eaten. You are eating it.
There's no moving around or nothing, so. The night goes on. If you guys just want to sleep for the night and start fresh in the morning, or do any role play with each other talking, we'll leave that up to you guys. Other than that, the next day, we'll start. All right, Heralding. As you make your way to your room, where do you sleep? You just still down in the living room?
He's just sleeping in the living room, meditating rather on the living room. And
So the smell of this delicious loin, honey glazed, is just permeated every ounce of the manse. It is everywhere.
The loins are calling to you.
But
Don't make it weird, man. It's just food.
Too late.
you begin to meditate. You take your poses and finish off in a cross-legged pose with your hands on your knees. And you enter your meditation. As you're meditating, the smell of pork is mingling with your ability to concentrate on focusing your mind and your chi as it goes through your body as you're performing your maneuvers. And then there's just this shiver, but it's not amongst you, it's amongst everything. The whole room seems to shiver. And you don't really notice it at first. You feel it, but you don't jump up or get alarmed. Then you can feel it again. As you open your eyes this time, you look at the ground, the stone floor that's covered by carpets. You can see the carpet beginning to break open and grass beginning to grow through. And here and in several other places it begins to happen as well. Then you can see in the fireplace a massive bush of red flowers and yellow faded petals bursts out. Then to your left, the entire wall crashes down outside and it opens up to a vast valley of water and sunshine setting in the background. As you look at that, you can feel yourself kind of warp and shift as you look back to where you were. The man's is gone. You can hear chattering. Roll perception.
sure.
Is it always a bush?
Is
Right, that's what I'm saying.
19.
19, excellent. You can hear chattering. It's gleeful. There's people laughing. There's people clapping. You can hear some music also in the background. As you begin to walk from where the manse was, you take a few steps and it's just dirt and grass that you're walking on.
Does this place have any significance to me that I can recognize? Perhaps history or is it just kind of a dreamscape?
I would say roll knowledge nature.
That's only a 12, sadly.
Doesn't appear special. It could be any place in some given valley where there's trees and grass. Nothing completely descriptive. But you walk through, pushing through these trees, fairly thick, and you get through them. Though 2 or 3 minutes later, the sound begins to increase. The music is louder, and the chattering between people is louder. You break into this opening, and you can see maybe 7 or 8 huts, all built in a semicircle. And in the middle of these huts, there's these 2 large wooden tables, and they're end to end with a myriad of people sitting at them. When you're looking at them, they kind of look all the same. They kind of look similar. They're wearing, some of them wearing different colors. Some of them are dressed in armor. Others are just dressed in livery. But they all seem to be at the table equally.
Okay.
At the head of the table, you see what appears to be a form of petals. Flower petals, just kind of holding in place, sitting, just hovering slightly above this wooden chair. It's not a wooden chair, so it's hovering over this stump.
Okay.
And you can see her hands reach down to the table and bring up pieces of food, and they pass into what do you think her mouth or face would be?
Heralding just observes this, and he approaches slowly from the side, just coming into the periphery of this whole situation, and just leaves his arms hanging at his sides, and he's eyeing that being. Is it like a humanoid shaped being made of petals?
Roll Arcana.
Okay. Nope.
No?
It's a 3 on the dice.
Okay, 3 on the dice.
It's a 6.
You're you're familiar with the form. Roll with advantage.
Okay. 2. 11.
11? Well, you're familiar with the form, DC 10, that you can see it from this distance. It appears to be one of the fabled forms that Brynhilda takes. She usually takes a form of a dryad in different colored petals.
Upon realizing this, Erelon's eyes just kind of go wide, and he immediately just gets onto his knees and puts his feet together at his back behind him, and just bows his head and closes his eyes.
The chatter doesn't stop, it continues. What you hear in your voice, you hear a voice in your head, and it says, "Rise."
He opens his eyes and takes a breath and gets up to his feet.
You look at the table now, and you still see all the people there, but where there was once no space, there's now a space. An empty chair, an empty stump sticking out of the ground. And you can see the petaled figure standing, gesturing towards the open seat.
Caroline takes a few steps towards this stump and looks to the visage of Brynhilda and looks down at the stump, back to her, and he furrows his brow. Am I worthy? Just sit at your table.
There's no response. She just stands there, still gesturing towards the seat.
Just takes a moment of silent contemplation and then looks up to the skies and takes his seat.
As you sit down, the table before you is beset with all kinds of different food. In the middle, you can see this great mound of wild boar, glazed with this thick layer of honey. You can even see the odd bee come down, land on it, and fly off again. And it smells amazing, and also very, very familiar. Very familiar. There's also vegetables. There is areas on the table that are grown plants with vegetables hanging off them, and you can see the other people and creatures at the table just plucking them off the plant, and they will then regrow a few short minutes later, eating them. You can see all kinds of fruit. There's plums, there's peaches, fruit you're not even aware exists, but it's all there.
Erlen takes a fig from one of the branches and swats a bit of cheese. He eats both. He just looks around the table, seeing can he recognize any faces beside him?
The faces are unrecognizable. They just seem to be from all walks of life, all races, all different kinds that you've experienced in your life. Maybe one or two that you haven't come face to face with. But one thing you can definitely tell is from what they're wearing, they're all followers of Brynhilda. As you continue to eat, you partake from the vegetables and the fruit, other things of that nature. And then slowly the people begin to dwindle, just fade out, fade away. And eventually there's just you and Brynhilda sitting at the table. And as you reach for another grape from one of the vines lining the table, you pluck it in your mouth. You shut your eyes to savor this wonderful flavor. You open them again, and Brynhilda's sitting across from you. And that grape that you once reached for is no longer there. Now, there is just that pork again. And you can see this dryad head kind of tilt slightly, and you hear in your head again, she says, I have seen you partake in the cycle, taking that of which is mine to provide that to others. I remember seeing you recently strike one of my creatures down. You know of how the cycle works, yet you do not partake in its rewards. Why?
Erlen takes a deep breath. He furrows his brow and says, it feels wrong. It was merely how I was raised.
She takes her hand and kind of waves it across the table. The table disappears as she waves it. Now it's just you two standing there in a field. And you can see amongst the field buffalo. It's a large buffalo roaming around eating the grass. And then you can see from back people on horseback riding through with spears. And they ride around one in particular, and they spear him down. He falls to the ground, and they begin to hack him to pieces. Then you see it switches again. There's a small campfire. You can see the piece of the buffalo on the spit rotating, and it finishes, and you can see the people that struck it down eating the meat. You can see this green kind of energy, this light green energy, kind of coat their bodies in pulses, kind of like going through their veins. And you can see them visibly grow stronger, growing larger, from maybe 4 or 5 feet to 6 feet. And then she looks back at you, and she waves her hand again. You're back at the table. And she says, to not partake in the rewards of what I give is only a detriment to yourself.
Erlen considers this point for a moment. He takes another deep breath and crosses his arms.
When you cross your arms, she says then, are you like the buffalo?
He uncrosses his arms and says, no. I just want there to be more for others. That's what I feel at my core. He looks to her, being fully genuine.
My rewards are there for those who wish to take them. If you do not wish to take them, I cannot force them upon you. But you will suffer. your goals will suffer.
He looks off into the distance for a moment and just thinks. Turns back to Brynhilda.
She's gone. The table's there. It's quiet. The breeze is blowing over the grass. You stand there, open-mouthed, about to speak to nobody.
And Erlon does speak to nobody. He closes his eyes, makes his peace, and says, I shall partake.
What do you do?
He reaches out with a dagger and carves a piece.
Squeals in pain, horrible pain. No, I'm joking.
It's alive!
It's alive! He carves a piece of that.
As you go to carve it, before your knife touches it, it fades away. The table fades away. You feel that same vibration through the floor, through yourself. Your eyes flicker open. You're back in the manse.
Erlon just feels this pressure on his chest. He awakes from his meditative state. And he takes a deep breath and he's got cold sweat. He wipes it away. He turns, getting up to his feet. He opens the door to the manse and goes outside. He just sits on the step, thinking about what just happened.
Okay. So I would say only about your normal meditative state has passed 4 hours. So it's still late in the night for the given time.
Yep.
The garden to your left is empty. You can't hear any real machinery in the distance. It must be after hours for the mine as well. It's quiet. It's peaceful.
And then he just starts killing shit. Everything.
Erlon just fixates on something for a moment and he remembers that blue salt. And he goes back in to the manse and fishes it out of one of his packs.
Is that with Tanith right now?
Oh yeah, no, right, it's with Tanith.
You can go back and
Oh no,
He probably won't wake up.
he doesn't feel like getting choke slammed, so
No, you have to work to
Go
it.
away.
He doesn't wake up that easy.
Yeah, I know.
Erlon thinks about that blue salt and thinks about what time it is. He just taps his feet a couple times and decides to just basically just rest for the remainder of his time. He has little carving tools and he just decides to carve what he saw.
Okay.
He carves
Excellent.
a
There's plenty of planks from that broken shelving unit that's the third time it got smashed. So there's a ton built up over by the fireplace for sure. All shapes and sizes.
Yeah, he takes one that's relatively thick and he just starts carving it slowly. What would it be, sleight of hand or something? Performance?
Yeah. The art of creation.
So you're trained in what? Tools.
That's right. Unless you don't have woodsmithing tools, do you?
He does.
Oh, he does. Shit.
Wood carving tools.
So then
He's
it's
proficient
your,
with it.
Now, I don't know what's I think that might be Dex, so it'd probably be
That's
sleight of
it.
hand. Yeah, you just leave sleight of hand, it's going to be Dex
Yeah,
plus
yeah.
proficiency.
Okay. Yep, that'll be 15 then.
Okay, yep. You are leaning
Something
away
that looks like something. Congratulations.
on this partial plank, and we will fade away while you're doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Did anybody else want to do anything? Dermot is still upstairs in his room. And once you go to yours, you can notice that his door is open a crack and the lights are on. Delkek, I would imagine you would clean up after dinner a little bit, help up with the kitchen with Nani.
Correct.
If you guys wanted to talk about it. If there's anything you guys had to talk about, we'll move on to the next statement. I just forgot to tell you that Dermot is there if you want to talk to him about anything. But in case not tonight, okay. So, you guys all go to sleep. You guys awake the next day to a wonderful meal. Wonderful smells coming up from the kitchen.
Meat. Lots and lots of meat. Bacon and sausages
Bacon.
and ham and steak.
Black pudding. It's a full English
There is
breakfast.
no vegetarian option here today, sir.
Before everybody else wakes up, you do hear the mine start up as you were kind of outside resting and just hanging about. You do hear the mine machineries begin to operate early in the morning before anybody gets up.
Gotcha. Erlon hears that, and he'll actually go down to the mine where he was staying with that family for a few weeks.
Yep.
And he'll go knock on their door. So they usually get up to this point in the day to start.
So you head down there. Everybody seems to be already kind of on the go.
Yep.
You meet up with one of the captains. Everything seems to be going normally. He does tell you that the ore around here doesn't seem to be producing as much. There was a little bit left, but it doesn't seem to be producing as much. He says maybe that path that we filled in, maybe the mine continues. He's not too familiar with this particular mine, but he's telling you yield from what they're mining currently is not as much as it was over the past few weeks.
Erlon just nods. He says, well, we'll have to get, like I mentioned, a few people to go down there and just check it out there, because I'm not going down there alone. Probably die.
And then he kind of speaks up and he says, well, if you scared them off before, perhaps we can send a scout. I mean, if we're just hauling out, it's just rock here. It's just rock face. There's no more. There's nothing left.
Well, I'll leave that to your discretion.
He gives you the nod, and he puts his hand up in the air. He does some sort of sign, and you can see the machine begin to unmount from where it is and move over to the doorway.
Gotcha.
And then we're going to move forward. You guys come down for a meal, breakfast, and everything is there. It is wonderful. It is wonderful. It's bacon, it's eggs, it's toast, it's maybe some pancakes in there.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm just, I can't get over the fact that your god literally just called you out.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yo,
what a bitch! Eat some meat!
It literally could have been like your morals
There-
mean
there-
not in the face
There
of
was a
God.
choice there.
Yeah.
There was a choice, but you didn't have to. Just want to let you know there was a choice there.
There was a bit of a delay, but I
So this
think
can be
he
canned
made up his
cheese the
mind.
whole time.
Yeah,
to eat
He made up his
something.
mind in the end.
So, a few days pass. You guys get all your clothes from Narrow's wardrobe. You got your robes. They're quite a little more detailed than you would like. This place.
They're simple, and they have like the. I think I requested like the crest of Grenhelda woven into the insignia at
Yeah.
the front.
And also on the belt, I believe. Yeah.
He had lots of requests about my dress too.
Yeah, well, he's overly protective, so he just wants the best for you.
They're not your children!
He doesn't care.
So
Clearly he doesn't know that. I'm like, oh!
you'll see, you get your dress there, Galus, as well. And throughout this time, also, you guys have been back and forth to Nero's wardrobe with small details about your dress, Nani, the green poofy dress, and everybody else's garb. Since this is time, Delkek, you've been up there also to be sized for garb, and that's all pretty much been taken care of. So you've been working on the mine for the past couple days. Down there early, putting hard work in, maybe pulling a couple 12-hour shifts. And then you can see at one particular point, one of the captains walks over to you and you're heaving on the shovel. I mean, your chest is in, out. He passes you the water. He says, "Now, go easy on it."
Erlon just looks back to him and just wipes his brow. He stands up, looks down to the dwarf, and he says, "My goddess gave me a choice. And I'm going to take it to make myself better. So I'm going to work until I feel like I've completed what I want to do.
He kind of looks around and he says, "Well, you've put in a good day so far. I noticed you didn't take a break for lunch either. Why don't you have some of this?" He pulls up this bag and he opens up the bag and he passes the bag.
Okay. What is it?
It's an assortment of jerky and pepperoni.
Erlon just looks at it and he
one large golden turnip.
looks at it.
The DOF. You know what? I'd pick the turnip, to be honest.
So what he does is he just looks at it for a moment, and he nods, and he takes out a dagger from his belt. He cuts off a piece of the turnip, and he takes a piece of jerky. He passes the rest of the bag back to him because it was his. So he nods and bites into it. It just looks like he's never eaten jerky in his life.
Probably
And,
hasn't.
and it shows, and it's not the greatest. It doesn't taste all that well.
Overly salty, too tough.
Yeah. I mean, it's made underground.
Clearly they didn't use
No.
pineapple in it, so it's not that perfect consistency.
He kind of squints his eyes and tilts his head back a little, and he reaches in the bag and grabs a medium stick of pepperoni and kind of shoves it in your pocket and says, "Hey, you're going to need this too." He pats you on the back and he says, "All right, keep the water skin."
Okay. All right, thank you. He rips off a piece, and then he just chews it, and you can see he turns back to hide the disgust on his face, and he just takes a water skin and just sips it down, and then starts gulping. And he just
Tastes like murder.
wipes his mouth.
Turnip and dry jerky.
Delicious, delicious murder.
Then he makes a sandwich of the jerky and the turnip,
There you go.
and then that's how he powers through it. He just
All right.
gets through. He scarfs down the pepperoni as well.
So you finish up your makeshift lunch there, standing by your shovel. You begin
Probably
to power
throws
through
up.
the rest of the shift.
Like soon after that. One, for the physical labor, and two, from eating meat for basically the first time in your life.
Second time.
It's
second time.
heavily scented. You can feel it on your breath, in your nose. You ate it maybe 2 hours ago, but it's still there. It's still raunchy and heavy with garlic.
Too much cumin.
Too much cumin. But you think, what could Nani do with this? You've had it before,
Yeah, it's true.
so I'll get you to roll 2 more saves. Constitution first.
That is 15. No, it's a 15 for the Constitution. And a nat 19 for the whatever.
See, I was going to give you advantage. I knew you didn't need it. You just needed some influence by
You
your
just need
dog.
to eat
That's
some
all.
meat, is what you need to do.
You can
Level up.
feel your ability to press through these last 4 hours. Just increase. Like you have more to give. It's easier to pull from the energy that you have in your body. It's easier to get it out through the shovel into the ground.
Erlon is he's doing this and he's just making headway. There's a couple other dwarves mining with him, and he's almost making pace with them, it seems. So,
I'll
No,
get
you
you.
can't be that cocky.
Wait a minute now. Wait a
You're
minute
still-
now.
adrenaline.
This is in
It is-
Erlon's mind.
According to him,
It
he's
is
keeping
mine,
up with
yeah.
everyone else.
But Erlon,
Doing a lot
I will
better.
get you to roll a very important D4 for me.
D4.
Please roll a D4 minus 2.
Negative
Let's try that again.
Say
1.
You get
-5.
it's a minimum of 1,
Yep.
maximum of 2 at the time. So you get +1 to your strength score.
Yay.
He's now as strong as a tired dwarf.
Nice.
That's pretty good.
And the days go on, you feel more able. Did that change your total score, or just went up to 12 to 13?
Went up to 10.
Hey, that's a big one. There you go.
Look at
That's
you
good.
go.
There you go, buddy.
No negative for you.
That's right.
Apart from Constitution.
One step at a time.
That was the
Working on
other
it. Yeah.
choice. If you had chose to take the vegetables, I was going to give you the Constitution bonus. So a few days go by, and you really notice the difference. You're able to. You may not be able to keep up with them as long as they can go, but you can definitely shovel more than you could a few days past. You can feel, maybe if you ever take a look at your your chest, and you
feel average.
Feel a little more than you were, a little less gaunt, a little less thin. You know, you have to maybe loosen the buckle on the robe a little bit, just a little bit, but it feels good.
Feeling it a bit more.
Feels good.
Yep.
No longer the beat where he was.
One thing you definitely notice though, your sweat smells different.
Oh yeah.
That your own body scent
He's
is
doing
now.
meat sweat.
Wait till you get into a proper naughty meal and you get the meat sweats, because that's not good.
It's like Bonehead's barbecue meat sweats.
Oh,
Don't even get me
good job
started.
about that, man.
Oh man.
Well, so next thing, if you guys want to take care of, is the salt. That would be adventure going into town, and something else will happen there if you guys want to do that. That's kind of the next portion, because the mine stuff is pretty much long, drawn out.
I've greatly underestimated how large a dragon onesie is. I may need more yarn.
Okay, you need to purchase some more yarn. Fantastic. Okay.
Are you gonna go for the monocolor, or are you just gonna grab whatever you
You'll
get?
see. You'll see.
Fantastic.
Oh man.
Okay, so you guys head out of town. It just so happens that you guys need another restock on supplies and vegetables and that sort of thing, especially on some meat, since someone's been eating
All of it.
a share portion anyway.
Went a little meat crazy. Seemingly.
Yeah, she didn't say you had to eat only meat. It's not a
To be fair
requirement.
though, he actually looks like there's some substance on his bones.
Yeah,
now.
you guys definitely noticed that. Over the past 3 or 4 weeks, you've seen him after he's come back from the mine just wrecked. But it's paid off. It's paid off. He looks a little bit more thick around the neck, around the shoulder, and the arms.
Filling out a bit
And
more.
the last time he opened that door, no struggle. It was just right open.
Finally.
Woo!
That's your crowning achievement is you can now open a door.
You can now open a door without sounding like you're constipated. There you go.
It's like
Ordinarily dying to it.
yeah,
There's no wind down here.
yeah. You just as everybody's going out of town, you just Dell kind of jokingly says to Erlon, "Hey, think you can get the door this time?"
And with a flourish, as a matter of fact, I can. He's now opening every door. Nobody opens the door. Anytime I see somebody walking towards the door, he runs over.
It's always so aggressive to like.
You guys head outside. Are you everybody going to the town?
Yeah.
I really want you there for the
you gonna
salt
do?
thing because it's a gift for everybody. Sort of.
Walking is becoming hard for Galis, but she's coming.
Okay, that's right. Yeah, it's definitely getting
Getting a
difficult.
little thick.
Heralding's in tow.
There we go.
Everyone's in tow with Galis and Nani.
You guys head to the tram. It's one of the dragon one you've seen before.
Yeah, I don't take the stairs anymore.
You guys show your badge from Bajadro's college. He lets you on. You guys head up to the first district, and that is where the main, or that's where the crystal sphere is, and that is where they have all of the edifices to the gods. Is that a word? Edifices to the gods. Edify? No. Statues to the gods.
That works.
Shrines?
Shrines to the gods, yes. That's where they have all the shrines to the gods where you can go make your personal sacrifices and or donations.
They don't let me near the water anymore.
That was the Bird College.
Any water, which she's not allowed to have a bath anymore.
Ugh.
Water.
That would be rape.
Nani baths her, so she doesn't
Sponge bath.
so she doesn't drown herself.
Tanith was the one holding onto the salt.
Yes, I would imagine.
I'm gonna give it to you.
Tanith.
I had an errand to run. Tanith is getting a new cloak.
Oh.
One that's not doesn't have holes in it and still has a bottom hem.
It's been some time.
Yeah, this one's weak as shit.
He's a second claw now. He's got to act the part. Look the part, sorry.
Heralding's
Yeah,
cast
yeah.
Heralding a bunch of times.
This is true. I
Nani
suppose
and
you
Galis can
wouldn't
just sew it up.
recreate fabric.
Or you could just cut the bottom off and give it to me.
Apparently, actually, unless it's
Holy
like more than a
fucking
foot, he can like mend it and it's no sign of previous damage.
Unless the half is missing.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, if it's
Yeah,
like
you can't mend when
missing,
it's
then
there.
that's yeah. If it's like there, like a broken chain, that's one thing.
So you guys head into District 1, and it is. You thought it was busy last time. It's half speed to walk through the first district now.
Oh, no.
And you guys can see even more. If you've ever been to a busker celebration, that's what it looks like. You go all around the edges of the walkways. There's people there playing music, doing different sorts of artwork. Doing caricatures and things like that, painting things. People doing fire dancing. You see this one particular dwarf. You can see she's holding up this long wooden staff, and on each side it's a spear on each side, and then she speaks some words, and you can see the spears light up. And they light up this bright orange, almost white light. She begins to swing it around, and every time it touches the ground, you can see in front of it these long pools of water. Steam shoots up, and it's kind of a dance of her kind of leaping back and forth between these kind of rungs, leaping back between these rungs and hitting the steam as the steam shoots up between her. It's quite a show. You also see the Brothers Barrel again, and numerous people singing. Also the games. There's games of chance, there's games of strength, there's games of art. You can basically do whatever you like to do, and there are prizes, very real prizes, you can see. Especially with the darts and the balloons, you can see these stuffed animals everywhere, but there are others. You can see there's an eating contest.
Surprisingly, he did not partake in that.
I know, right? I think it was because it was just late in the evening, and he was allowing for the game to end at a certain narrated point that I didn't get to.
You guys laugh alike, and it's really scary.
Who?
These two.
Oh, me and
Sometimes
me
you
and
just
Ryan.
guys laugh at the same time, and I'm like,
Who's laughing here?
Laughter in stereo. Yeah.
Stereo pair.
Yeah, so there's the also Keldron's Hold Your Breath contest.
Oh, can we do that?
Yeah, of
All
course
of
you can do that. Well, you can certainly all try, yeah. You can see that there's a lineup of people by one particular dais where they get up there, and there's in these very lavish costumes of different races or different things or different mythical beasts. You can see someone dressed up as a minotaur, someone dressed up as this big snake, maybe a Yonti? Maybe a Yonti. And they get up on the dais, and you can see there's people sitting at a table, different creatures, and jotting things down on paper or something of sort, and then the person gets off and walks away. All the cacophony of noise and people cheering and listening, and there's this kind of music in the background. And you've kind of heard it before. And it goes like this. Aldera's here, bring family near, to old and new, God see you true. And welcomes the soul, she remains below. Seeds are meant to sow, tend and watch them grow. And then it kind of fades out, there's more shadow, a bunch of dwarves walk by, really loud. And you guys make your way to the Crystal Sphere, where all the different shrines of all the different gods are placed. And you guys can see these very long lineups to the shrines. And there seems to be more, you can see more acolytes now on duty, talking to people, collecting sacrifices and whatnot, as the line kind of goes so far and then splits up into 3 or 4 different lines leading those people. You guys can see the acolytes of Oros accepting weapons and bags of gold, and you're not quite sure if they're fossilized remains of something, but you know Oros. Oros is a warrior, soldier, and one of the gods of battle. There is also roll perception.
all of us?
Anybody who's really looking for someone to talk to. And as everybody else is just looking at particular shrines of their particular god.
22.
22, okay, you see somewhere near the middle that there is three creatures, 2 dragonborn and a dwarf. All seem to be fairly aged. And they seem to be standing and just kind of watching as the people come in and looking, just keeping an eye on things, I guess.
I rolled an 18. I'm especially nosy today.
Okay, yeah, they definitely seem they seem to be the people in charge. Yeah.
Think they'll take me for a swim?
You'd have to ask them.
Heralding, he had the salt given to him from Tanith.
Yep.
And he has it in his pack at the moment. And these three, two dragonborn and a dwarf.
Yep.
In the center.
At that moment, you guys see, you guys hear Frank. He says, I'll be right back. I gotta go do something. He nods and awkwardly kind of tips his hat and walks off. Kind of looks back over his shoulder as about 10 feet away as you guys are.
Heralding's watching them.
So you guys see these three seem to be in charge.
Does Tanith know these people?
I'm gonna stay away from these people.
I'm gonna say roll history, Jen.
Oh no. That's a 2 minus 1. That's for 1.
No, you have never seen these. You don't even see them right now.
Good. I don't care.
He's looking at all the food.
Can Heralding roll history? Maybe he knows something? Possibly?
Speaking of food, I'm hungry.
With disadvantage.
Disadvantage?
Yep.
10 or... So it's a 15 total. 10 or 11 on the dice.
Okay. They don't really strike you as familiar in any way, but they just do seem important. They have the air of somebody who's important.
Heralding looks at the people for a moment and
One of them's a gnome, sorry.
one was a gnome, not a dwarf.
A gnome, a dwarf, and a dragonborn.
Gnome,
All walk into a bar.
I was just gonna say, it sounds like the start of a bad joke.
Ravim, you would take a glance over at where Karath's monument is, and it's just, I believe it's in half shade and half light. You can see the lineup of people there, and they seem to be holding, most of them are in bags, but you do see some people holding gems of very intricate cut, and they seem to be all of a very, they seem to be perfect. Everything seems to be numbered right, everything seems to work out, everything seems to be mathematical, nothing seems to be irregular. You can also see they are holding scrolls, but they're rolled up, you can't really see what they are. There's a fair amount of people holding scrolls as well. Tanith, if you look over at the Shrine of Oros, you can see people, the same thing, holding weapons and souvenirs from corpses
Excellent.
of bad guys and things of that nature.
Murder.
Grinhilda, when you guys go by that, you can see offerings of plants, seeds, not money, not gold, not jewels, not anything. You can even see creatures inside cages. You can see a monkey inside a cage, you can see a lizard, you can see a bird, all these things like that. Nani, when you're walking by the Shrine of Anra, all you can see is monuments, all you can see is little statues, bags of silver, silver coins, silver staffs. Everything is just silver, whatever it is.
Are you a klepto?
Crazy.
Oh, you know there.
And that would make perfect sense to you because it is said in text that the road to the afterlife, or wherever we go from here, is paved with silver. Exactly. Yeah. Then you guys continue. You guys can see Delron. The Shrine of Delron is there. The line is very short. Generally with people who are shrouded in cloaks and darkness. You can see also over their weapons amongst things. They seem to be bloodied. They seem to be used. You can also see small cages of spiders and scorpions. They seem to be very deadly, very horrible little creatures. But there's not much activity over there these days.
Heralding does pass by the Shrine of Grinhilda. He takes out...
It's going to take...
Oh, right, it's a line.
That's the lineup. It's
a line.
going to take some time for that. If you guys want to do that, you save till after you talk to these three people.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to have to get back in line.
Yep.
And Keldrin, you can see, you've seen them before. They're all cloaked in black, veiled in black. You can't see their faces, but the lineup there is equal to any other one of people paying in. You seem to be personal effects of a very high value to particular people. Things like that. Also, I think there were urns as well, but things like that. That's generally what you see, and it's quiet up here compared to the noise beyond. Once you stepped into the crystal sphere, the noise seemed to come way down.
Do I see any blue salt anywhere?
Roll perception.
23.
You in fact do see some blue salt. You see it in this clear bag. You would swear that there's only about a tablespoon in this little sack, and it's just placed on one of the mantles. You see it in other places too, just these tiny, tiny little sacks.
Is it almost like every god has one, quote
You
unquote?
can probably pick one out on every god if you look hard enough.
Gotcha. Okay. So Erlon's with whoever there is there, and the three people. Who's all with me here?
I would be with you because Grenhild is my god too. I'm with her.
Well, I imagine everybody went for this thing, just to go up, because this is, it's all a little bit of something for everybody.
It's
So.
unique. So Erlon approaches these three people, and he just are they talking at the moment, or are they?
You can see them sharing a few words here and there, but no deep conversation. One says something to the other, they look around. One of them is holding a scroll, writing in it.
He offers Erlon moseys up to them and offers a greetings, just a slight bow. Says good day to you.
The Dragonborn looks down, way down at you. And what did you speak in? There's 3 different races there.
Speaks common.
Speaks common, okay.
Oh, that's
He responds in common. Have you come to pledge sacrifice to your chosen gods?
He looks back to the group behind him and he says, well, I suppose we can. What do we get for that? Yeah, we have,
Sacrifice you.
we have an offering, I suppose. It's not really. Looks over to Rav and he just shrugs his shoulders. Let's see. Kind of just gestures around. He gestures over to the other shrines. He says, well, we've, he asks, what is that blue salt?
It's one of the strongest salts you can get to perform rituals and cast spells. They say only the gods can change the color of salt, and it is only found in very rare places.
I see. Interesting. He turns back with that knowledge. Just a moment. He'll kind of usher in with the group, and he'll
Group huddle.
Huddle time.
he'll just talk in a low tone to the others. He rolled to stealth. He just rolled an 11, just to kind of keep his voice
Or we
down.
could walk further away.
That's true.
She's pregnant. I'm old.
You can't walk 10 feet in the crowd.
I might walk off on my own, to be fair. Okay.
It's pretty clearly.
That I'd bail you out of jail.
Erlen starts to talk after he turns his back a bit, and then he just looks back. He's like, well... And then he moves a little bit further away and kind of just gestures for them to come along. He just has to talk to them for a sec.
Has Gayla seen this big bag of blue salt?
I think everybody's seen it.
Everybody's seen it at once.
Maybe.
Have we seen this one?
Delkek, you have not seen salt. You're the only one that has.
Okay.
So Erlon just kind of takes everybody aside for a moment. He says, should we not keep a little bit of it for ourselves? Says that to the group just because it seems like it might be come in handy at some point, possibly. But The guards.
Keep all of them.
The tentacles speak, which is rare for hidden in public.
And
How about we keep the original 1 pound that we had, then turn over the other 7?
Or turn over the 1 pound and we keep the other 7?
Yeah.
Dell is just sitting there kind of looking around. He's like, what have I gotten myself into now?
you have
The
no
less
idea what
we
you're
have,
talking
the
about
less
pounds and this
garbage
and
we
that.
have. Excellent. Because I don't know about you, but I don't want to kill innocents over some salt.
If they're stealing from you, are they really that innocent?
Why are we killing people with salt?
No, I don't
I've
wanna
never
them
killed
to
anyone with
protect
salt before.
it. Valuable.
Doesn't mean it's not. It won't happen.
Depends on how much salt you put in your food.
Another reason why we shouldn't have too much of such a valuable part is because Nani will cook it away.
Like the saffron.
Like the saffron.
Just like
Listen,
saffron.
stop with the saffron. We've moved on from the saffron. It was delicious food. You ate it. Nobody complained. Okay?
He did.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, God.
Maybe if the wizard would stop leaving his things unattended, we wouldn't have these problems.
God.
Why do we keep getting rid of all the stuff that tastes good? That's what I want to know.
I don't know why you guys sold it, but sold it just. It's weird.
You sold all the deliciousness.
Spices.
It was a weird move. It was a weird move.
Yeah. See what happens when I take my
I
eyes
didn't get
off?
vocal. That's why.
Nani and Ratham wasn't there.
We
Weren't
didn't
there, so there was no
Yeah.
control over the spices.
I do believe the conversation went. Gail said, "There's a bunch of things you might want to sell." You listed off all the things we had.
Yep.
We just went to town and sold the whole lot. There was no debate over whether or not it had to go.
Think of all the food I could have made with all of those things. And now this guy eats meat.
Now I gotta go through inventory and see what else you guys
That's a
put
good
off that was extremely valuable. And probably got coppers for.
Don't look at me.
No, they got a good price for everything.
I didn't.
Can I roll insight on that statement?
Oh, they did. That's coming from the DM for sure. They got a good price on it. I didn't screw them around. They made
I don't
some
believe
really
you
good
for a
checks.
second.
No, they made good checks. They didn't fail any of their checks on the sale. They even ran the guy tried to railroad them in. No, they seen right through it. And they saved the 8-pound bag of salt. They were going to sell it for like 1,000 gold or something.
I think it was like 100.
Was it like 100 or something like that? Yeah.
It was low.
That was low. That does sound really
Pennies
low.
a pound.
Yeah, considering the price of everything around here, I'm still not convinced that what standard market price is.
There is no standard
That's
market price
valuable to
for
the day.
8 pounds of blue salt. That is such a high specialty item, it's ridiculous.
So, please continue your conversation.
So,
Fearless. That's it.
all 8 pounds just in one fell swoop.
No.
Turns into a god for 24 hours.
How big is your nose?
What, in a wolf form?
Fair. Fair play.
Just one looks
It's probably not a good thing for us to keep it a whole lot, because I'm not convinced she's not going to turn it into some sort of tea and get us all high again.
Like I said, sell 7, keep 1. Then divide the 1 amongst us.
Sell 6, keep 2.
Can someone
Sell
please?
5, keep 3.
Can someone please explain why we're
God's
talking
just
about
throwing
selling
in
salt?
numbers.
Blue
Your
salt.
business. Also, Kale, did you happen to look in this bowl to see if it was clean before you consume
No,
it?
I just grabbed, you said,
You'll
get
be
one.
fine.
Don't, not the dirty one, so I assumed everything else was clean.
She also
And
said
it wasn't
second
the
drawer
drawer.
down, you went for the third.
Yeah, I went to the third drawer. Is that the dirty
You were
drawer?
wearing
dirty
dark
drawer.
today, aren't
That's
you?
Yeah. I thought you were cool, man.
Turns out wizards get touchy when we sell their stuff. Who'd have thought? Maybe if they didn't leave it out in the open for it to get stolen, we wouldn't have these problems.
I don't leave it out in the open, that's the
But
problem!
how did it get stolen?
He's not high enough level yet to have a chest he can hide in subspace.
Yeah!
Go get yourself a bag of holding and never take it off.
That's your first one. Leoman's tiny chest?
Damn.
Mine.
I am making connections with magic
How
casters,
do we-
there's someone there.
How do we know it's salt?
You tasted it.
Did I taste
Someone
it?
did.
Did we taste it? Okay.
Somebody tasted a cheese.
Because
Was there
that was going to be my
concept
next
involved?
thing, was can
No,
we
it was
taste it?
just like a potion kind of thing. It wasn't clearly not a poison, for sure. But yeah.
At least not a strong one.
Still honest.
1 grain lands on your tongue. DC 28 con. There you go.
Yeah, oh, jeez.
He'll be dead in 17
Just
weeks.
melts you from the inside
Hallucinate for
out.
the 24 hours.
That's everyday thought.
For the rest of your life, you feel
Dementia
like you're upside down.
Great.
Like, what the fuck?
So Nani has Alzheimer's.
Erlon just, he holds up one of the linen sacks, like the 1 pound sack. What he says is he just says, we'll take the 1 pound bag, keep it for ourselves, and hand over the 7.
Why are we
That's what I
handing
say.
it over?
So you guys got the salt. Yeah, there was nothing said that you guys had to return it.
So,
So it's completely up to you. You guys haven't used it, sold it, you preserved it from getting stolen. You got
Now
it all
give it
here.
away.
Now what are you doing with this quote-unquote incredibly powerful magical bag of salt?
I
Cooking
want
with
to eat
it.
some.
Cooking with it. Cooking with it.
Erlon's keeping it in his backpack for now.
Why are you the salt gatekeeper all of a
But
sudden?
it's in his bag.
This is in my bag.
I can beat him up.
Does it do things like the tea?
At this point, we can all beat him up, but that's not the point.
It's true.
Look, if we're gonna divvy it up, that's fine, but we just gotta keep it, or we gotta do something else with it. That's
I just want a little bit.
Tanith will speak up so everyone will hear him in the group. If we're going to keep it and divvy it up, we're not doing it here. This is something that's frowned upon for general populace to have.
Okay, fine. When we get home, then.
Are we turning over any to the religious people?
No.
Can I ask a question?
No.
Oh.
Was that your question?
Oh.
This would be like walking through town with a pound of coke.
That's why I want it.
Maybe
Why
like a
is-
truckload of coke.
Why is
Yeah.
the salt bad?
It's
bad.
not.
Then
It's
why are
just
we not
very
supposed to
rare.
have it?
It's just very rare
And
and
used for
very,
religious purposes.
It's
very expensive. It's mainly suspicious.
Yeah.
For just randoms at your level to be walking around the Shiers on the streets with enough of this salt to provide,
To kill an elephant.
to sustain a magical temple for their spells for quite some time.
2
Salt has
pounds
too
can
much power.
bludgeon anyone, but that's beside the
And
point.
why is Erlon carrying it around in his backpack?
Well, because you guys didn't know.
Look unassuming.
You didn't know, and so you still don't know how much it's worth. You still don't, and you
I
still don't
still
know that
don't.
it's kind of really magical. You don't know. This says a little bit of information.
Alright, are we
every-
keeping it or are we getting rid of it?
It's
Keep
a,
it.
it's a group
We're
decision.
keeping it?
We're keeping it.
We're keeping it.
keeping it.
We're keeping
All in
it?
favor of keeping it?
Keep-
Tanith doesn't
I
really
have two
care.
hands.
As long as you do something with it.
Yeah,
2 hands.
yeah. You see Del, and he's
Delkek,
I'm
to keep or not to keep, Delkek?
and Del just scratches his head. He's like, I'm still trying to process what exactly the issue is.
And
here."
Nani just glares at him. With both hands raised.
Everybody's just like, what are you doing? The YMCA? Just
Okay, hold on. I need to see everybody's watching this.
Erlon just
Village
quickly
people
puts her
touched
hands
it.
down.
No.
You have
Rocky. Village
human,
people touched
elf, dwarf, elf,
Very
2
pregnant
different
elf.
kinds of dragonborn, in a circle, yelling at each other about salt.
Yes, you look dumb.
Quietly yelling
I
at each other
need-
about salt.
I need a group roll of deception.
Does that mean
And unless you
average?
guys, I know you're trying to keep it quiet. Ravim, you're trying to keep it quiet.
I'm
Delkek,
not.
you don't know what's going on.
I'm just
Tanith, are
confused.
you trying to keep it down about the salt?
I'm trying to be firm, yet not overly loud.
Okay, so
Why we
He doesn't
figure
really
Erlon,
Be quiet but
normal,
authority.
just normally,
Confused.
Deception.
She's always
deception,
confused.
Ravim, normally as well. Tanith, normally, Galus, and Nani, disadvantage.
10.
8.
10.
Yeah, we did good.
19,
High
23.
23.
5. This guy's
Do you want me to
Yeah.
take an average?
No, it's just pass or fail, and then more fails. 10. So you guys kind of look around as you kind of realize what you've been talking about in the middle of this crowd of numerous people, and there are definitely people looking your way. You don't quite know why. You look back at those
Put your hands
We know why.
those 3 people standing there, and the Dragonborn is looking at you, Tanith. Sorry, looking at you, Erlon.
Erlon he notices that and he just diverts eye contact immediately.
Gayla sees a food cart go by and she leaves the group.
Okay.
It's way outside the crystal sphere, but it's there.
She saw it. She's
Okay.
going.
Okay,
And they're
so-
potato spirals.
Just
It's
to...
okay.
And meat pies, I'm in.
Great.
We're gone.
Nani and Galus
Tanith
blow the
has,
scene and walk
has an
away.
idea for the first time in his life about sharing things with others.
Aww.
So,
So much character development today.
I know.
like
Just
it.
put it all in.
I woke up and I didn't punch somebody.
And he's eating meat. This
I
is
know.
a good day.
You missed
I
it.
trained Galos on how to punch someone properly.
Yeah. And then he actually taught me to do
With
it.
the thumb on the outside of the fist.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I almost cut his head off.
Yep.
Also, punch with your ass.
So, Tanith has a great idea.
Punch with your hands.
What we could do is, since it seems like everyone wants to do something with it, some want to give it away, some want to keep it. How about this? We give away the 1 pound bag, because it's already separate, then we divide what's left equally amongst ourselves.
We're gone. We're not in this.
Meat pause.
They're gone, they don't.
Potatoes.
Do we really
Erlon, does that make sense to you?
The men don't.
Erlon
consider us
just-
decisions.
Caroline just nods, crossing his arms.
Okay, I'll go in your bag and get the 1 pound bag.
All right. So
Should say. Can I rescind?
No, but you can return with
you're
a spiral.
I
You
can't.
guys are away now.
You're allowed to walk back.
Sorry, you guys walk there, so if there's a split up, everybody
you have
gets
attained potato spirals.
some. Roll,
And meat.
are you trying to see what they're looking? You're curious.
I'm very curious.
So
yeah.
tell me
Why are you
how,
sharing with him?
how are you trying to look at this? Are you standing where you are? You guys, Tanith is kind of, those guys walked off, you guys are kind of on the opposite side
Yep.
of the circle.
Just as I'm seeing, I'm assuming I'm like across the circle from Erlon.
Yep.
So I'm just kind of waiting to see what's going on at this point. but-
Tanith walks over there and starts going through his bag, pulling out something.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'll get you to roll, since it's in the bag, roll perception with disadvantage.
Perception disadvantage. Alright.
Since Tanith,
So that's an 8.
Well,
okay, so you're not able to see, you see the sack,
Yep.
but you don't see
What's in
in it.
Okay.
So you're all very suspicious all of a sudden. For this group of people, all of a sudden
Yeah.
very suspicious.
Actually, hold on a second. I'm still kind of learning some of my traits for this class.
Really try to keep my jokes to myself.
No, don't.
Actually,
Just
hold on a
make sure
second.
there's time to cut them out just in
Actually,
case.
I completely forgot about that. Excuse me.
Expertise.
That is just because of the inquisitive thing, eye for detail.
Oh.
So his perception checks are a minimum of 8 plus his bonus. So
Oh, there you go, okay.
So yeah, perception, that would be an 11 at that point. So it's probably still not going to be enough
I
to do
guess,
anything.
Tan, if you're trying to cover it up that you're going through the sack, you're not pulling it out.
No,
So I'll get you
I'll keep my hands in his backpack.
I'll get you to roll deception, please, for me.
Oh, gosh.
Erlon would like
You
hoist
to
it
keep your
up
hands in
too.
his lap?
So it's
18.
It's easier now with those shoulder muscles. It's all this, you know?
not- Average shoulder muscle.
18.
18, okay. You don't seem to catch it. You don't seem to catch it. Okay, you get the 1 pound bag of salt.
Yeah.
All right, Erlon will hold out his hand. Oh,
I'll hold it, and I've already got it.
so you
No, I want to give you.
I want to hear me. What are we getting rid of?
You'll find out later.
You guys are great.
so are you gonna bring it over? Or?
Let's do it together.
Sure.
Erlon and Tanith will walk back to the religious people and say,
Be guilty by association.
No, no,
Guilty
once we
by-
found it, we would like to
Yeah.
sacrifice.
And just for his sheer curiosity.
We worked really, really
You're not
hard for
there.
this.
I can say it however I want.
You guys walk over there. You can see the Dragonborn's back is a lot stiffer than it was the last time you were there. But it's only like 10, 12 feet away. So you guys walk back over. He's got his arms kind of crossed on like a half cross down across his chest, and he's just kind of looking down at you guys, not at you, Tanith. You guys are eye to eye.
We recovered this some time ago from individuals who should not have it. And I will hand him specifically the bag.
He reaches out his hand, he takes the bag, he looks at it, opens it up, and you can see the Dragonborn's eyes just go wide. Just wide. I'm not even gonna roll it. And there's a pause. There's maybe 10 seconds he's just kind of looking at it. And he closes it. And he says,
I see.
well, you are giving this to us?
You have use for it. We do not.
I think he's more concerned that we are giving it.
I mean, we'll take some money.
You are...
Is there any recompense?
We're eating. We don't get a vote.
Is there any recompense that might be offered?
For this is a a great find. No, me. He's rolling inside.
Oh.
Where did you ever come across such a wondrous find?
Goblin ship.
Pirates.
Pirates.
Well, it is a
Ruffians.
good case that it has been recovered. It can be put to use in much better ways. He closes it up and he looks to the gnome and he passes it to the gnome and he speaks in Draconic. You all speak Draconic, Tanith, and yeah, he says...
I do as well, actually.
Okay, and you hear clear and plain, he says, in a very fast, almost aggressive tone, he says, take this, hide this. And then the gnome disappears.
In your backpack.
And then the gnome just fades out. He turns back to you and he says, well, what can we do for such a wonderful gift and such a wonderful Fel'Dara celebration? For those who would bring back such an immense gift, what could we do for you? Within my power, of course.
He looks to Tanith and Ravim's there too, I suppose.
I didn't go too far
No, you
yet.
didn't go too far, so yeah, you're still getting around. And he just says, Erlon just looks to the Dragonborn and he says, Tanith, back to the Dragonborn, looks between them both. Do you have any ideas?
If you can't think of anything, I can give you some small things. Now, by the way, my name's Eardak. Eardak Craigback.
Eardak Craigback.
Eardak.
I prefer Eardak.
Formerly the Adirondack family.
This is the Dragonborn still?
Yep. Eardak Craigback. Give the dog a bone.
He reaches behind him on the table and he picks up this sack and he says, here, take this anyway. He gives you this giant pile of potions that may be leaking.
Oh.
That works.
Which you just jumped right into Zach's hand.
Put them on that sack.
That's going to work well because Tanith is going to ask for healing potions of the highest order.
You might need those.
Yeah.
He says, further to that, if you wish, you and your party, I see them over there, maybe some over there now, and you can, you're welcome to join us at the ball for the Fel'Dara celebration.
Thanks for arguing.
We are already planning to be there.
We already have invitations, but thank you.
Wow.
Well,
I would like to wish for some dancing shoes.
you're not there.
Yeah, this means while you're...
That's what you get for wandering away.
I'm so
back.
I'm so. How long does it take to get a meat pie though?
Oh, not long. You guys are there, you got me. And he says, to whom should I attribute this great honor?
Us as a collective.
And who are you as a collective?
Oh, get a band name. Make it
Erlon
good.
furrows his brow.
The old rich mom.
The old Gretchmine
On
gang.
behalf of the old wretched mine.
The Gretsch gang.
Really come up with a better
The
name than
Gretsch
that.
gang. Oh my god.
That just sounds like a cheesy TV show in the 70s, like Scooby-Doo level type shit.
That fits, really.
Well,
Yeah.
We
The
are.
Gretsch gang. Like zoinks!
Erlon just says, we're working on that.
Are we though?
We are now.
Do we need a name? I like my name.
We're the children of Nani. Really?
that's scary. So he looks over you at Tanith and says, should it be on behalf of the Oros, the Knights of the Oros?
Seems fitting.
Very well, I will attribute this to the Knights of Oros. And your name, Sir Knight, Tanith.
Second Claw, Tanith, and his associates.
It is an honor. Second Claw, Tanith.
We almost
Yes,
got demoted to
We're
associate.
just speaking Tanith and Associates.
It sounds like a law firm.
I like the children of Nani. It was a very cult name.
Tanith is your leader.
Tanith and associates.
Although he's been turned
Have you
into
been
a
wrong
leader.
in a mining accident where you were attacked by giant exploding squads? Then come see us at Tanith.
Might be entitled to a settlement.
Tanith, Erdak nods to you and he gestures to his left-hand side and he says, this is Kusk. If you see us at the ball, come and just say hello, please.
Cusk.
Cusk.
And he speaks up, and it's an elf, and he says, "Aye, Cusk Drifthaven."
He was one of the 3 that was there?
Yep. And the gnome's gone.
Okay.
The nameless gnome.
The name was known.
He looks to, Erlen looks to Irdak and he just says, if at all possible, a portion of that salt dedicated to Grinhilda and her shrine. Please and thank you.
And roll persuasion. With advantage.
Yes.
And because you will still have your perfume. No, that was yesterday.
Nat 19 anyway.
That's good. That's good.
We hope he
So
showered.
when you tell that, he thinks for a moment. Says, "Aye, best can be done. In whose name?"
Erlen takes out like a little piece of parchment from one of his scholar's pack and just writes down his own name and rolls it up, and he offers it to him. This is the name.
Grinhilda will grace you sufficiently. He rolls it up and he puts it inside his robe. Crosses his hands again. And looks at all you in turn, and he smiles. And he looks at Cusk and smiles at Cusk and nods. And that is where we will end for the evening.
Thank you for watching the Death Needs Dialogue Entertainment Network. This has been The Depths of Fel'Dara, Episode 17, Heralding Call, Part